You boys ready?
Do I get my tit out on this one?
No.
Can I just flop my cock out?
Other
Yeah.
one.
Fuck it. You know what? Just get whatever genitalia you like out, mate. I'm not bothered at this point. As long as it's pierced, like Prince Albert, isn't it?
No.
Seems fair.
It's not.
Seems fair. Right. Time to upset a few people, particularly when it comes to savage spelling mistakes.
I'm always upset.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to be upset after this one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the State of Wrestling Address. Every week, we discuss the wrestling news on the Wrestle Plug. We do it honestly, without absolute fucking filter or censorship or anything of that nature. I'm Aeron, the Egyptian Death Machine. Joining me is the man who puts the wood in Bollywood and the man who will always flag up on the top 10 FBI's most wanted. It is, of course, Tanvir.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, how's it going? And also joining me after a massive lapse in appearances when it comes to the Wrestle Plug, at least, but you can find him every single Wednesday night on Silent and the Death Machine. He is my illustrious partner on that podcast, and he has returned to State of Wrestling Address because he's no doubt an incredibly knowledgeable individual when it comes to professional wrestling. He is, of course, the silent one that is Silent Mark.
Hello. Lovely to be here. Thank you very much for having me again.
Marvelous. Right, let's get right into the news. So, AEW had their pay-per-view Full Gear last weekend. I know that Mark didn't watch it. Tanvir, watch any of it?
Just the buy-in. I literally, after the buy-in, I crashed. I was too tired.
Cool. Was the Elite on the buy-in, or was that a part of the main show?
That was part of the main show.
Excellent. So, of course, the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks made their long-awaited return to AEW at Full Gear this past Saturday. This also marked their first appearance since All Out and the infamous media scrum that followed. Silent Mark, how much do you know about the in-house fighting between the Elite and CM Punk?
A little bit. I do know a little bit. CM Punk has upset a lot of people. He's basically done what he did back in WWE again. Yeah,
pretty much. Basically, he's upset a lot of people who live in their mum's basements because they can't handle somebody who tells the truth, apparently. While they faced Death Triangle for the AEW Trios World Championship, I believe it was the first in a best of 7 series. I wonder who's going to win that. Fucking hell. However, even though they lost the match for the titles that they actually had to vacate due to the backstage nonsense, there was some incredibly vocal chants of "fuck CM Punk" from the crowd, which were then reiterated on Being the Elite, which is the Elite's terrible YouTube channel, where they pretty much just poked fun at CM Punk the whole time and took cheap shots at him. And then Kenny Omega comes out 2 days after that, yesterday, I believe, and says that we all need to, in fact, I think it was today, he came out on his Twitter account and said, fans need to let it go, which is a bit strange considering that he obviously hasn't let it go, the fucking Mark. Tanvir, thoughts on Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks being back in AEW, but CM Punk still being in limbo and potentially not being with the company anymore, because the rumor is, and strong sources are reporting that CM Punk is trying to cut a deal with Tony Khan where they will buy out the rest of his contract and he will leave AEW.
I loved Kenny Omega 5 years ago, back in 2017 when he was with New Japan, and same time I love the Young Bucks, but ever since AEW I've just felt like I just don't enjoy them as much. And the thing is, a best of 7 series, like, to be fair, Pac v Kenny Omega, give me that all day long, but you don't need a 7-match series in a trios tag team. It's too much and just a bit silly. So, but on the CM Punk stuff, the Elite came back, but I think CM Punk's got the money because they played Cult of Personality on the Walking Dead finale. So who's the real winner?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, CM Punk's not going to be short of money anytime soon, and he's not going to be short of honesty anytime. So I'm not even that big a CM Punk fan. I don't really like him. I think he's really overrated. His promos are okay, but I feel like there's a lot of people who can eclipse him. And I feel like the reason he became so meteorically famous is because he was so counterculture in a time when WWE was so dreadful. So he was kind of like the best of the rest, but I never felt like he reached the heights of a true main event talent like a Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Undertaker. Sign him up with the knowledge you do have, and obviously with the alleged fight that broke out in CM Punk's locker room, and a lot of people disputing the fact and saying that basically CM Punk's incorrect and he's lying and all this kind of different nonsense. Is it a good look for AEW not using CM Punk but siding with the Elite?
I think business-wise for AEW, yes, and also business-wise for CM Punk, yes. A weird kind of link. Friends of mine who are in a band are also friends with CM Punk and mention how nice he is as a bloke. The fact that he is doing this shit, he's obviously not happy there for very good reasons. I wouldn't be surprised if, especially with the changeover in WWE, he may try and get back in there. And I'd be surprised if Triple H hadn't already hit him up.
Yeah, with Vince McMahon obviously now removed from the process, and with WWE going for a slightly more edgy product, even though it is the fact that it's actually Triple H and CM Punk had quite a lot of bad blood between the two of them when he was leaving. It wasn't actually ultimately too much on Vince McMahon, or at least not nearly as much as we would be led to believe. For me, I think it speaks volumes about how shit a owner Tony Khan is, that he hasn't been able to manage this as well as he has. It's been an absolute fucking embarrassment from start to finish. Never mind the fact that if you like the Elite or not, or if you like CM Punk or not, or if you hate everyone involved, bottom line is it's just been handled so fucking poorly. The amount of details that just got leaked and were all over the place. And, you know, Tony Khan, who owns AEW, sat next to CM Punk as he went on that tirade and didn't dispute a single thing he said, which to me screams, well, he must have had some factual basis, because otherwise you would have piped up right there and then as the owner and be like, look, mate, you could probably kick the shit out of me because I'm a fucking dweeb that allegedly wanks off dogs. But at the same time, you know, we can't really have you saying that stuff on a media scrum. And also the fact that you're asking your wrestlers after a 5-hour pay-per-view to not shower, but sit in front of the media at 1, 2 in the morning and ask them, you know, and be asked ridiculous questions about a sport that is ostensibly predetermined is fucking ludicrous in its own right. The whole thing, just from start to finish, is a cluster. Good for you, AEW fans. You're chanting fuck CM Punk. It'd be interesting to see what Dynamite's like. We're recording this Wednesday night, obviously, and we'll drop this on Thursday. Tonight, AEW Dynamite is in Chicago, land of CM Punk. So, and a lot of people assume he might be back tonight. No idea. I mean, it would be the perfect storm for him to come back tonight and maybe attack them. If he does, that kind of screams work. And if he's not there, then we kind of know that it probably isn't a work. But the bottom line is, I find it amazing that anyone would want to side with the Elite. Like, if you don't want to side with CM Punk, that's fine. Who's telling the truth? We don't really know. Nobody's there except for the people that were there. So it's always going to be a he said, she said bullshit kind of scenario. But for me, I find it amazing that people genuinely think that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are, you know, the much better ones to support. Just from a pure business standpoint, CM Punk is the first guy to draw over $1 million and 1 million viewers for a pay-per-view for AEW. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are yet to do that. In fact, television ratings have regularly proved weekly that there is actually a large drop-off whenever these guys are involved in segments, which for me speaks volumes. Casual fans don't care about them.
And that's the thing, you say that CM Punk isn't a great wrestler, and yeah, technically he might not be, but there's a reason people watch his matches. He is entertaining. He is part of the entertainment value of it. When speaking about going back into WWE, yeah, he's not going to be a heavyweight champion, but Jesus Christ, the mid card would be amazing with him in it.
CM Punk v Gunther?
I'd even go CM Punk v Riddle.
Yeah, I think CM Punk has got a plethora of brand new opponents and new guys to face. He's not going to be weighed down as much. He'll definitely appear as a massive star. I think that WWE, that you've got Roman Reigns, you've got Seth Rollins, who's probably, you know, the biggest star on Raw. You know, but they're building people quite well now. Kevin Owens feels like a major player. Sheamus feels like a major player. Gunther feels like a major player. These are all guys that could theoretically slot into a main event, and nobody would argue with that. And then you bring in CM Punk, who has incredible star power. I don't think he's a bad wrestler at all. I actually think he's very good in ring. I just don't think he's world class. I would like, you know, if I wrote a top 20 all-time wrestlers, he wouldn't make that list. But I do think that he is definitely one of the more polarizing and interesting figures that wrestling has had in the last 20 years. And that is alone enough for him to be a very marketable individual. And the bottom line is WWE are going to pay him a lot of money. And, you know, he's probably going to be even more better off for it. And when it comes down to it, when he was brought into AEW for that Rampage, when he made his return after 7 years, they had 2 million viewers. They're now back down to 1 again. So obviously people are paying attention to CM Punk and they're not paying attention to Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. And what live fans sing doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't. It's nice, you know, good for you guys. You got on TV and chanted about how you hate CM Punk and all that because you believe everything that Daddy Dave Meltzer tells you, which is fucking embarrassing in its own right because that guy's been proven to be a liar multiple times in our business, despite being the most respected journalist in our business. But yeah, it smells is what it does, and nobody looks good for me. I just think everyone looks, you know, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, they're asking people to let it go, and yet they're acting like whiny little bitches that need their pussies pampered on Twitter. And CM Punk is making cheap shots while, you know, doing commentary for MMA. So, which I personally thought was very funny, to be honest. For anyone who hasn't seen it, he was on an MMA broadcast, and they sort of joked about, oh, maybe we should start our own wrestling company. He was like, great, another locker room I can get.
Fury Pro Wrestling.
It's Fury Pro Wrestling indeed. Bottom line is that whether you like it or not, the real brass facts of it all are it's essentially a 3-on-1 scenario where 3 individuals attack 1 individual. So anyone who's siding with the 3 individuals, it kind of shows how much they're desperate to be victims. But the fact that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are back on TV and CM Punk isn't, that's cool. You can choose to do that, Tony Khan, but you obviously don't care about money. And obviously you don't because you're a billionaire. But you know what? Bottom line is this company is a bit of a joke at this point, and this is another reason why, with the level of toxicity from their fans, why I just don't want to watch it. The gatekeeping aspect of AEW fans is appalling.
Stinky. It's stinky.
It does. It smells. It smells rotten.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. So,
was that your attempt at a Scottish accent?
You know that video of like which one of yours did?
Yeah.
That's
supposed to be Scottish.
I cannot do a Scottish accent to save my life.
I fucking found that out, mate.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Well, the important thing is you tried.
You did try, and well done.
Thank you.
Give you a biscuit.
Don't tell people well done when they try and they fail. That annoys me. Don't let him feel like he's successful at this,
mate. He deserves a biscuit occasionally. We have to give him something.
Yeah, just keep him away from a kindergarten. He'll be fine.
Fuck off.
No. Carl Anderson, NJPW. Most people will know by now Carl Anderson's back in WWE. He's part of the OC, but he is still, I believe, the never openweight champion for NJPW. Anderson was originally scheduled to defend that title against former Bullet Club stablemate Hikuleo at NJPW Battle Autumn on November the 5th. However, he was unable to make the defense due to being booked in Saudi Arabia, where he probably made a lot more money. NJPW issued a press release stating that Anderson versus Hikuleo will officially go down during the Super Junior and World Tag League 2022 finals on December the 14th. It will be Anderson's second defense of the title since defeating Tama Tonga for the title earlier this year. Anderson's only title defense was against Hiroshi Tanahashi in September. This is good, surely. I think this is good. We've got an NJPW title defense by a WWE guy.
It's cool. I like it, and I think because it's the end and December 14th, it's I think literally only.
That's a forbidden door, Tony.
It's 3 weeks away from Wrestle Kingdom, so I think Carl Anderson wins, and then it's just who's going to step up and challenge Carl Anderson at the Tokyo Dome.
I don't think he's dropping the belt because he's in WWE.
I don't just think the WWE. I think Carl Anderson's got more name value, and it's not to put Hikuleo down because Hikuleo is a.
Oh, I love Hikuleo.
He's
great
a good,
lovely guy as well.
He's a great big guy, but I think Carl Anderson, not just WWE, he carries more of a name value, and Carl Anderson's a solid in ring worker. So it's also like, and with Wrestle Kingdom now just being the one night only again, and because you've got other big matches, like I think so far you've got Okada v Jay White. You're gonna have
we're about to break that down. To be fair.
you're gonna have FTR v the World Tag League winners, Francesco Akira, TJP v the Super Junior Tag League winners. Got a junior 4-way.
Who the fuck are these people? Yeah. It's just you're
just
mentioning names.
Okay, I'll mention 2 names we know and we just discussed one of them.
Get to the point. We're talking about fucking Carl Anderson. You can have your NJPW erection later.
Yeah. But I think with Carl Anderson, it's just I think he'll win, and then it's just a question of who steps up next. And if this does lead to a WWE New Japan collaboration, a show at some point, great, good for business.
Yeah. Silent Mark, the excitement level of knowing that WWE guys are working in different high-end companies.
Do you think he gives a shit anymore?
Who, Triple H?
No, Carl Anderson.
He's got that kind of Wolfpack vibe to him, Diesel and Scott Hall, of where they just in it for the money at this point. They really do not give a shit.
So would he not, when you say don't think he'll drop the belt just because in WWE, are you sure? Do you not think he'll take the payday at that point?
I think he'll keep the belt because it adds more interest to New Japan, and it's more business, and in the end, whoever they get to face in that Wrestle Kingdom, it's a bigger payday.
No, but what I mean is, do you think Carl Anderson will give a shit anymore and bother keeping the belt? Or will he just go, you know what, I don't give a shit anymore?
Well, if he didn't give a shit, he probably would have dropped it by now, surely.
Yeah, they would have stripped him, but he said the thing is, it's like, I'll defend this belt on my time, and we already had an agreement. So it's different to previous situations where they've had to strip a champ, when Carl said, yeah, there was no paperwork or anything done, nothing discussed, it was just a handshake agreement. So I'll defend this belt on my time.
I think it's good for business. I think it's good for both sides. I think it gives great exposure.
It's a great idea, and it would be very, very good for massive WWE marks for, who don't go outside that sphere, including me, to get into New Japan.
I just think the coolest part that would be better was like at the beginning of the year you had Mickey James come out with the Impact Knockouts champion. Mm-hmm. I think if you had Carl Anderson regularly on TV with the never openweight title and then commentary hyping it up, and then fans would look at the title and be like, oh, what's that title? And then you have business for both sides.
NJPW are a bit more strict about their belts being shown on other programs, though. Whereas Impact, where it's quite small now, for them it was an absolute no-brainer for Mickey James to come out with the title. So they were never going to argue the idea of her wearing the Impact Women's Championship on the Royal Rumble on WWE television. Whereas NJPW, as good as they are with business like this, and I think it's very smart to keep Carl Anderson in their good graces and actually let him defend the belt, despite the fact that he's a full-time contracted WWE employee. Even they're probably sitting there thinking, well, do we really want our belt on TV? Me personally, I think they should be doing that, but you know that they're going to be a little bit more strict about that than Impact.
Do you think that there's going to be more scope for crossover with different?
I hope so. That's kind of what I'm hoping this is what it's going to lead to, is that we're going to have more crossover. If I'm Carl Anderson, this is a really good business opportunity. Have Luke Gallows at ringside. Have the entire OC at ringside. How cool would that be?
Now that would be crazy for Wrestle Kingdom, because the thing is, Gallows, Anderson, they've been doing New Japan. If they were to somehow bring AJ Styles over, that's 6 years that he's been away from New Japan, fans would lose their minds.
Even if it's just like them at ringside and getting into it, and I don't know, Bullet Club having a little fucking Barney with the OC.
Yeah.
And but it's perfect storytelling as well, because you've got 3 of the all-time great Bullet Club members in AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows. Carl Anderson, of course, being one of the originals as well, against the brand new version of the Bullet Club. And it's great. Like, if I'm Triple H, I'm sort of talking to NJPW, like, let's fucking do some business here. Let's have your guys on our TV at some point. Why not have the Bullet? If you imagine the fucking internet would explode if the Bullet Club attacked the OC on Raw. Like, people would lose their fucking marbles for it.
I was going to tie that back in, because there was some news that broke, I think, earlier in the week of a leaked Royal Rumble run sheet, and that had Jay White on it.
I think it's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit too, but it's interesting to note.
It'd be good.
Yeah.
It would be good.
Yeah, I think people need to let their egos get out of the way here, because if they do, we could genuinely have some incredible moments. You got to think, what's going to turn people's heads? What's going to excite the fans? That's, for me, infinitely more exciting than the Forbidden Door concept that AEW did, because it wasn't a forbidden door.
Because we've had them before.
Well, yeah, it's that thing of, you know, like AEW were like, oh look, we've opened the forbidden door and brought in all these different talents. It's like, well, you haven't, because none of these talents were only contracted to one company.
Yeah, because it's like something where Joe said, I think, on the AEW Unrestricted podcast, and I fully agreed with him that wasn't really an open door, a forbidden door. The forbidden door is WWE. The moment they enter a partnership or do something with WWE, that's the real forbidden door.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, it gets me excited about the concept of crossovers, and it means that I'm going to be much more likely, especially if Carl Anderson's going to be Wrestle Kingdom, I'm much, much, much more likely to tune into that. Speaking of Wrestle Kingdom, an individual that we were speaking about earlier, he appeared on New Japan television, didn't he? Kenny Omega basically called out Will Ospreay, Britain's own, and said that he would be coming back to save NJPW and challenge Will Ospreay for the NJPW United States Heavyweight Championship. That, of course, led to plenty of banter online with Will Ospreay saying, maybe you want to save your own company first, buddy, and all that good stuff, which I enjoy. Is that good for business, bringing Kenny Omega back as a huge AEW star at New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom in January to face Will Ospreay?
I think it is good, and the thing is, Ospreay called out Kenny Omega first, and the thing is, the whole thing, Kenny said it, I think, straight away in his first line. He didn't reach out to New Japan. New Japan reached out to him. So people saying you're going back, it's like, no, the company reached out to me. I didn't have to go back. So that's why I think it is good for business. It's a good business move. And at the end of the day, for a majority of fans, it's a dream match. It's happened before in PWG, but that was years ago. So now I think like 6-7 years on.
It also happened in OTT.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought there was a 6-man tag or something, but
okay. It is, but they've still been in a ring.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, it's not like they haven't sort of interacted before.
Yeah.
And they would have got in most of their spots. And for anyone who's watched that match, it's pretty hilarious. To be honest, it's a great match. I don't like the Elite, but you know, it was a great match. There's no denying that. Great athletes are just dickheads of human beings, in my opinion. It's good for New Japan. You know, Kenny Omega was the biggest star there. I really liked Kenny Omega when he was the cleaner, and you got a little taste of that when he was sat down doing that promo, and he cut a better promo in that moment than he has in his entire run in AEW. And I think that speaks volumes, because NJPW fans aren't going to tolerate bullshit, stupid, dumb Kenny Omega 69 me Don bullshit.
Just get
a proper wrestler.
Just get Don Callis.
You're interrupting me again. I swear to God, we have this conversation every week.
I was good last week. I'm sorry.
Okay, Daddy.
Also, I love that. It's like, I was good last week, so this week I'm going to miss.
No, it doesn't. We're
going to get a Switch one of these days. I swear down, and I don't mean a Nintendo Switch either.
Yeah, you're going to bring. No, you're going to bring out the flipping. Is it the abortion ladle?
Seems a bit much, but
fucking what?
I know, right?
What have I missed?
No idea. He's not helping himself at this point, is he? He's really not.
An abortion ladle.
A ladle, apparently.
You need a ladle?
I don't know.
I mean, do we really want to spend the next 10 minutes dedicated to Tanvir's form of abortions?
No.
Probably not. I mean, he's already in enough trouble with the FBI as it is. If you throw the ladles in there as well, it's like, what? Yeah, it's not good, is it? It's not.
Are you American? Can you afford abortions? If not, go to Tanvir's Abortionists.
Tanvir's Abortionists.
Oh my God.
Well, if that doesn't get us cancelled, nothing will at this point.
Our ladles are always clean.
Well, after the fact, maybe. After the fact. Who watched NXT this week? Anyone watch NXT?
No.
I saw that Reggie is Scripps.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. So Scripps, there was this kind of mysterious character, this hooded character who was going around and spray painting on things, and people were very intrigued. Who could it be? And it turns out it was the Cirque du Soleil guy, the Gimp, who was the former 24/7 champion, Reggie. Good repackaging for Reggie.
I just think the mask looks a bit shit. That's my only thing. It doesn't look great, the gear for it.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't unmask himself, did he? But it was so freaking obvious because he started doing Cirque du Soleil flipping again, and we were like,
that you could. The mask looked bigger than his face, so you could clearly like tell it was him.
Yeah, not fantastic. If I'm being honest, it doesn't like. Don't get me wrong. From an agility side, he's incredible. Like, and obviously, any Cirque du Soleil for anyone who's gone to the circus, like seeing these people do all these incredible trapeze artist acts and things like that, it's very impressive. But it's not professional wrestling. It's just gymnastics, is what it is. And so for me, it doesn't really have any value to it unless you can actually wrestle as well. Like, yeah, great. Like Will Ospreay, for instance, can actually wrestle. So I appreciate the fact that he can flip around a lot more because I know that he can also wrestle really fucking well. Whereas with Reggie, it's like, I've only kind of seen you flip. I've not seen you do anything else.
Have they gone into that because they're not doing as much with the cruiserweight division as they used to?
Potentially. I mean, 205 Live was scrapped. There is no cruiserweight title anymore. The 24/7 title seemed to kind of be a surrogate title for a lot of these cruiserweights to just run around chasing each other around. It was silly, but it was funny. It had its place in the sense of they made it very clear from the get-go, yeah, this is not a proper title. This is just dumb shit like the hardcore title, which was very, very popular back in the late 90s and early 2000s. The hardcore title got a lot of traction just because of how crazy and out there it was compared to a somewhat more serious and more aggressive product, particularly in a time when they weren't PG. But yeah, for me, I just think, I know it's Reggie, even if he's wearing a mask. So, hopefully they'll surprise me. Maybe they'll do something more Wyatt-esque, or he'll do something more sinister. We'll see sides of an actual character, because we never really saw a character out of him. He just fancied Nia Jax. That was basically his gimmick. I fancy Nia Jax. I like big-booted black women, which,
I was going to say, don't we all?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not really an issue from where I'm standing. But, it's that thing of like, his gimmick was essentially, I flip around and I'm small. Great. There's a lot of guys who do that, and it's called AEW Dark, buddy. So, bottom line is cool, but yeah, I mean, I will give them the benefit of the doubt because ultimately there are some very good things on NXT, like Toxic Attraction. Oh, baby. And ultimately, as long as that's on TV, I'm probably going to pay attention to your brand. But do I care about scripts? No, I do not. Any final words on that?
Just change up the gear. The gear did not look good. Interesting. I think it's WWE just doing that thing that they used to do with most of the roster of not quite figuring out how to fit them in, and they're just throwing as much shit at the wall, seeing if it'll stick.
Tanvir, you've seen Wakanda Forever, right?
Yes, I have. I enjoyed it.
So apparently, Damian Priest was approached by the producers of the film to audition. Damian Priest, of course, a member of the Judgment Day on WWE Raw. He was asked to read for 2 roles, including the role of Namor, the Talokan King, that served as the film's main antagonist. Despite being approached, Fightful was unable to confirm whether Priest ever did a reading or audition for Namor or the other proposed role, which Fightful was unable to confirm. As many who have seen Wakanda Forever have surely noted, Priest was ultimately not cast in the role, with Mexican actor Tenoch Huerta being cast as Namor instead. Ironically enough, Huerta is also connected to wrestling, having previously played legendary luchador Blue Demon in a TV series, same name, loosely based on Demon's life. While Priest may have lost out on a big role in one of the biggest blockbusters of the year, he will be at Survivor Series, of course, in the corner of Finn Balor. But yeah, it's that just excites me a bit,
Yes, Wakanda Forever was awesome. For Damian Priest, I don't think he would have been a good Namor because Tenoch Huerta, he aced it. He was awesome in it. I think Damian Priest would have been a good I think Namor's right hand man, Atuma, who's like the big bulky dude.
Amatuma.
I think he would have been.
I haven't seen it. That's all I can think of now. Thanks.
I think I think he would have been better in that role, but yeah, Wakanda Forever is a really good, well put together film. It's one of the better Marvel Phase 4 films.
What about you, Mr. Silent Mark? An opportunity for Silent Mark to delve in, because I know he's big on comics and superheroes and stuff.
I've not seen it yet, but it is definitely on my list. I would genuinely love to see it because I love the first one.
What would Damian Priest suit, do you think, from an acting role? For me, I think he'd make a great Bond villain.
He'd be a good Bond villain.
Yeah, very much in the role that Batista was in Spectre. I think he'd make a great silent assassin, like Jaws or something.
It'd be good. I would find him as a good villain in like one of the DC Arrowverse series. I think he'd be a fantastic villain in one of those.
Cody Rhodes did that, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
I think Damian Priest would be an interesting Black Mask. In a way.
You know what? Yeah.
Because he's got like the stature to him, and I think he'd pull it off as like a Roman Sionis.
Very much so.
Yeah. I quite like the idea of a Latin kingpin.
Mm. Oh yeah,
that'd be good.
Yeah,
like, I feel like that role. For instance, Santos Escobar, the role he plays in WWE is essentially a cartel king. That's kind of what it comes across as. And I feel like Damian Priest has the sort of stature and the delivery and the voice to pull off a role like that. He'd be great as a main henchman against the Punisher, something like that.
Oh yeah,
pretty.
I think if they were going to go that route, I'd say if they were to do a live action version of Tombstone, but the Tombstone from the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon series, because I think Damian Priest would suit that role very, very well.
I assume we're not talking about the incredible Western Tombstone.
No.
Have you never seen that?
No.
Incredible.
It's properly fucking violent, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's proper.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about it. I've heard it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic. Check it out. Great film. Really good. This is a good it's a good transition, however, because I have a list of 12 wrestlers who became very successful movie stars. So it's now time for the Wrestle Plug list. So I will ask Tanvir and Silent Mark whether they believe that these individuals are truly a success in movies or not. Are you ready?
Let me just get it out of the way. Hulk Hogan, yes.
Can I just ask a quick question about Tombstone?
Mate, Suburban Commando was fucking
get in the bin.
Get in it. Is Tombstone the film with Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell? That's on Disney Plus. I can watch it.
Watch it. It's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, because Westerns really haven't been revived. I think Django Unchained is probably the other one, and that's not really a Western in the truest sense.
I don't know. They tried to do the Magnificent Seven again.
Yeah, tried being the operative word. I'm not watching something like that. To be honest, mate, I love Robert Vaughn. He was like my favorite actor as a kid. So for me, it's like you're never gonna fucking replace that. So just don't bother. Shame because I wanted it to be good, but it wasn't.
I've got like 2 films for homework now from you, sirs. Blues Brothers and now Tombstone.
You've not seen Blues Brothers?
No, I'm amazed I haven't.
Fuck
That's the thing. It's still on my list. I was gonna watch it on holiday, but the thing is, Cape Verde Netflix doesn't have Blues Brothers, so I couldn't watch it. So
I love the fact Cape Verde has his own Netflix.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Fuck you, Tanvir.
I'm sorry. I'll make it. I'll watch it this weekend.
Well, you can make it up to me by shutting up while I read out this list.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that question. Thank
12 wrestlers who became successful movie stars. You are now about to give your opinions and tell us whether you believe they were successful or not in your own opinions. And we start with Andre the Giant, who played the role of Fezzik in the 1987 fantasy classic The Princess Bride. Fezzik is a giant who, along with his friend Inigo Montoya, teams up with main character Wesley to rescue Princess Buttercup. Apparently, Andre would turn Goldman down because casting director Jane Jenkins told The Wrap that William Goldman, who authored the original story, initially had Andre pegged for the role. However, Andre would turn him down, instead recommending his friend Arnold Schwarzenegger. English was, after all, Andre's second language. This, coupled with his deep voice, cast doubt in the Giant's mind over his ability to handle any role with substantial dialogue. However, the movie soon entered development hell, with filming enduring a near decade-long delay. By this point, Schwarzenegger's stock had risen astronomically, and the studio could no longer afford his services. This time, Goldman and Rob Reiner, the film's new director, managed to convince Andre to take the part. Almost 40 years later, it is tough to imagine anyone other than Andre in the role. So, successful in Hollywood or not, Andre the Giant, based on his performance in The Princess Bride?
One and done as a success in Hollywood, no, but as a success as a character in a film, he was fucking brilliant. Princess Bride is amazing. And yeah, he made that part. Having Schwarzenegger in it it wouldn't be good.
I can't imagine him playing that role.
No.
Interesting. What about you, Tanvir? You seen Princess Bride?
I've seen it in bits and pieces. It's one of those films where it's like I
Fuck
feel
you, Tanvir.
no.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was
Fuck you.
No, I had this conversation. It's one of those films where I feel I have seen it, but I've forgotten so much of it that when you say it, I'm like, I remember bits and pieces. So I feel I have seen it. That's the thing. So I'd say, yeah, same with Mark as a one and done. Yeah, because Arnold in the role will be a bit iffy.
Well, how do you know? You haven't seen it.
I feel I have though, but years ago.
Fair enough. All right. Well, moving on. I think Mark's writing down ways that he wants to kill Tanvir at this point.
Yeah, I was just writing down "fuck you, Tanvir" on a bit of paper.
Fair enough. Take it to the next show you're at, and just hold it up at Odyssey while you're doing the MC. That'd be amazing. If you can somehow name drop Tanvir at Odyssey, I will be so happy.
I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it. That's your challenge for the next show. Right. Next individual, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who, of course, made a rather fantastic role as Guard Dunham in The Longest Yard, starring Adam Sandler. He was, for anyone who may not have seen it, he was the racist prison guard who also played in the American football game. One of my favorite parts of that film is literally when he tears his helmet off during the main game at the end of the film, walks up to Nelly and goes, "That's how a white man runs the football," which is just astonishing. Talk about fulfilling a role that you were destined for from the get-go. He was also in Condemned, and he's in Grown Ups too, as well as, of course, the Expendables franchise, which is headlined by Sylvester Stallone. Would we say he has been a success in what he's done?
Nah,
No,
they're getting him there for the name.
So you don't think he's good in any of these roles?
Nah.
What, you didn't like him in Longest Yard? He's amazing in that.
No, he's brilliant. Don't get me wrong, because I like Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he plays Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Fair enough.
I'm waiting for one wrestler to appear, and it's an instant yes.
Well, this one
I've
should
already
be
said Hulk Hogan.
Shut the hell up. Right. So, next individual on this list seems like a no-brainer. Batista, star of Guardians of the Galaxy as Drax, and of course the Bond villain Inspector, amongst a numerous amount of other things, including the remake of Kickboxer and loads of other different films. Seems to have really, surely he is a massive success.
Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
That's really good, by the way.
I haven't seen it yet. I've got so much.
Have you seen anything? Fucking hell!
I've got my diary right behind me, which proves I've seen so
You're
much.
shit for a nerd.
You're a shit nerd, Tanvir. That's what you are.
You are.
You're a shit nerd. Right, next on this list,
the
man that nobody can see, John Cena.
Yeah, I think it was fun. It was fun of Peacemaker, and I think in Bumblebee he was cool.
Yeah, he's been in a number of films. Obviously, he started out with The Marine and 12 Rounds, which is, give or take. But to his credit, he's moved on to major DC franchises, of course, with the Suicide Squad film, the TV series, The Peacemaker. Not to mention, he's been in the star of quite a number of films. He's also done a lot of voice acting as well for animated films.
Was he in a Mark Wahlberg film, I feel?
He was in that one with, is it Amy Schumer? Do you remember Amy Schumer?
Yeah. He was in Trainwreck.
Trainwreck, that was it.
Yeah, and he's the guy in the cinema who's he's going out with her, and he tries to give that guy abuse by saying he was going to fuck him or something. It just didn't. Quite funny.
He voices Ferdinand. John Cena voices Ferdinand.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, and when that got nominated for an Oscar, I'm like, you can officially say John Cena's been nominated for an Oscar.
Mind blowing.
He genuinely surprised me, because when he was in those bit parts in films like Trainwreck and shit, I thought he's just playing a relatively different version of himself. But then the more I watch of him, the more I'm impressed with him and his acting, and especially his comedic chops. I think he's fucking brilliant.
He's in another film which I think in the trailer has him butt chugging.
I think it.
Is that Cockblockers or whatever it is?
Yeah, it was Cockblockers. Yeah.
There's another one that he did.
A fireman. There's one where he's a fireman, isn't there? And he looks after a little kid or something.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's actually done a number of films. He's done
fucking loads.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'd say he's grossed a lot of money. So
I'm just going to go on his Wikipedia quick and just see.
We are not spending the next 10 minutes looking.
I'm not. I'm just interested.
No, Tanvir. Right, it's time for Silent Mark to infuriate everybody. The next man on the list is Hulk Hogan, the movie role Hulk Hogan is arguably best known for is Thunderlips in Rocky 3, which, believe it or not, originally got him fired from the WWF in 1982 because it was at the time owned by Vince McMahon Sr., who had an extremely strict idea about his talents appearing in movies. He felt that it was unacceptable. They shouldn't be in movies, and that's why he was fired. And of course, he was brought back and became arguably the biggest thing in wrestling, at least in that point, it has to be said, no matter how much of an absolute goober he is. He was also in No Holds Barred, and he was in literally the world's biggest live abortion, Suburban Commando. Not to mention
Nothing wrong with Suburban Commando, mate. It was fucking brilliant. Suburban Commando, Mr. Nanny, mic drop, done.
Mr. Nanny is fucking AIDS.
I just googled up Mr. Nanny because Hulk Hogan's got that famous gif of, I think he's a meme now, where he kicks the dog into the water or throws the dog into the water.
Someone should have kicked him in the water.
It's hilarious.
Awful actor, terrible. No. By the way, Mr. Nanny didn't draw a dime. Horrible grossing movie.
Doesn't matter.
Well, it does.
Dread
was because the argument isn't like him. The argument is
bad.
a major success, and he's not because he hasn't done fuck all since. By the way, this is a guy who believes that he apparently could have been the heir to the George Foreman royalties. This is also a man who claimed recently in an interview that he's the only wrestler to wrestle over 400 times in 1 year, because in his own words, apparently when you travel to Japan and the clocks go back, that means that he gains more time to wrestle, completely negating the fact that you have to fly back.
Yeah.
What a penis.
Doesn't mean that Suburban Commando wasn't fucking amazing.
But it wasn't, was it?
Yeah.
How much did
it draw? Hulk Hogan and Christopher Lloyd in the same film.
That's great. Like, what
I'm basically just trying to calm down my own erection now.
I mean, the fact that you think it's good means that, frankly, we haven't really missed you that much in the last few weeks. What an atrocious opinion. Go and get in the bin, you fucking Morecambe twat. Yeah, fucking talk about shit nerds. Tanvir's happy because all of a sudden he's no longer in the firing line. Let's see. Oh, good. It just closed the fucking thing for me. That's good. Right, next on the list is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the highest grossing actor of the last 20 years, and the highest grossing actor of all time. Success in Hollywood, yeah or no?
Yeah, it's a success, but majority of his roles are the same because there's that famous meme of him in like 4 different films where he's basically playing the same character, and it's like, yeah, Dwayne's kind of been typecast now, and as Black Adam he was all right, but
I watched
it's
Black
a success.
Adam.
I haven't seen Black Adam yet. Any good?
It's a good start of a film.
Yeah. So if I was to pitch to you, like, how would you make a film epic? Like, how would you give a film that epic feel?
A lot of that comes down to acting. Like, name me a film that's truly epic. Godfather, for instance.
Yeah. But here's the
Marlon Brando, it's like the level of acting, the level of I think it comes down to the believability of who you're watching in the role. Can you completely suspend your disbelief and be drawn into that role?
It just here's my big issue. Like, there was way too much slow-mo. It just seemed like every 5 minutes there was a slow-mo shot, and I'm like, why is there the need for so much slow-mo?
Yeah,
people say that a lot in DC movies, especially in the Snyder cut of Justice
I was
League.
fine. The Snyder cut didn't have as much as I feel as Black Adam did. Black Adam, it felt like every 5 minutes there was a slow-mo shot just to make like, oh, this guy's epic. Look, he's a superhero. He's got all these muscles. He can do these all things. I'm like,
isn't that ostensibly what superhero movies are, though? There's a lot of obnoxious, fucking set pieces.
I realized my problem with it. They went to Marvel, by which they just did paint by numbers superhero movie with a precursor to something bigger happening later on down the line.
Yeah.
That's all it was. That's the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
It was basically Thor.
Yeah. And
it was Marvel's version of Thor.
Yeah. Pretty much. And the actor who stole the film was Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate.
He was great.
Yeah.
And the woman in it as well, she's stunning. I've had a crush on her for fucking years.
Which woman? His love interest or the mum?
There's only one.
I mean, I haven't
woman
seen it, so I'm used.
Okay, I was gonna say like not the Justice Society woman. No.
No.
Oh,
different
okay.
one.
Okay, yeah, the main woman. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this several times. I think it's ludicrous that they got a Samoan to play what is ostensibly an Arab superhero.
Yeah.
Right? You had an opportunity there to send a real great statement, but apparently nobody's up in arms about that. But they're all up in arms about Qatar and the World Cup. Yeah, smacks.
Mate, you can't say anything. You're white.
Yeah, apparently so. I like the nice crossover, Joe. I like that. So next on the list is The Miz. Who was part of Christmas Bounty, Santa's Little Helper, not to mention he has starred in a multitude of Marine movies. He also has a very successful TV series, that has to be said, Ms. and Mrs., which is actually very highly rated and is doing very well on TV. I know that doesn't technically count because we're talking about Hollywood. Is The Miz a successful movie actor?
He's a success in WWE entertainment, yes.
Yeah. But
no, then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I as much as I hate The Miz, I fucking love him.
I think
him as a person and as an entertainer is fucking brilliant. But but I genuinely think he should be given a bigger role. He should be, be able to expand his acting chops a little bit more. But
I think he has the potential. I think he could do more. I think he's obviously, we're not rating him on whether he's a good heel or not, because ultimately he is. He's one of the best underrated talents in the history of wrestling, in my opinion. But at the same time, there's no denying that the majority of his movies are not that great. I like watching the Marine films for a giggle, but they're not good films at all. And ultimately, he doesn't have any good body work. He doesn't have any defining role where I think, that was the shit. That was top dollar. Enough to be able to say that guy is a great film actor. That guy is now, he has transitioned away from wrestling. He still feels like a wrestler trying to be a movie star. Not like John Cena or Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who are movie stars.
Because you guys mentioned the WWE films, I'm trying to remember the WWE film where it had Rusev holding a gun and threatening people.
Isn't that 12 rounds?
I don't know. It was like he was backstage and it was actually his Rusev character and he had a gun.
Okay, cool. Next on the list is Kevin Nash, which some people might argue is an extremely underrated choice here. Kevin Nash was, of course, Super Shredder in 1991's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. He was the main sort of fight scene individual. He was in The Punisher, basically. I believe the one with Thomas Jane. He was the big Russian berserker that burst through the wall. He was very funny in The Longest Yard as the giant roided up lunatic who ended up being an idiot because they swapped his roids for estrogen, which I thought was very funny. Stone Cold Steve Austin rather famously yells at him at some point, telling him stop being a cheerleader, and he starts crying, which is very funny. And he's been in Happy Madison's Grandma's Boy. He's also been in Magic Mike. And he played the role of Odin in the direct-to-video flick Almighty 4.
Okay. He's got a cameo part in John Wick as well.
There you go. Not bad.
Yeah, and he's in a Channing Tatum film as well called Dog. That's on Amazon Prime. So yeah, Kevin Nash, I love.
What do you think, Mark?
I think he's kind of like a Miz again.
Really?
Isn't a success, but deserves it.
Yeah, you say that, but then he's got something that Miz doesn't have: high-profile Hollywood movies, Magic Mike, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
But he isn't a success in it.
Well, I mean,
you wouldn't go to.
I suppose this comes down to defining a success. Is he a movie star? No, because he's not playing the lead role. But the roles he has played, he's been excellent in. He's not been shit at them. He's been very,
very good. But you wouldn't go and see one of those movies and think, oh, it's the Kevin Nash movie.
I'm tempted to say he is a success because everything that he's done.
Contrary prick.
Hey,
I said, all right, you contrary prick.
Yeah, very good. You used a big word. I just think he's been in a lot of incredible films, and he's been not necessarily the main role in those films, but he's added something to each of those films. Those films for me would be less if they didn't have him in it. So Tanvir again doing that thing where he shares files during a meeting for no apparent fucking reason, which is infuriating. By the way, who was it who said that you were? Oh yeah, it was Frankie T. He thinks you're a dick for that. By the way, Robbie Nitro apparently wants to knock you out as well, but that's not
me?
really a thing, is it? Hey,
me or Tanvir?
No, Tanvir.
Oh, okay.
No, Nitro loves you. He thinks you're great. Yeah, no,
the boy's a fool.
Well, I mean, yeah, that goes without saying. Next on this list is Roddy Piper. Famous for his B movies, and of course the infamous line in "They Live," where he says, "I've come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum." Roddy Piper sadly no longer with us. He was in The Bad Pack, Hard Time, and Immortal Kombat, which were a number of movies. He did have an appearance in Rocky III, and he had a starring role in No Holds Barred as well. But yeah, They Live is what he's regarded for.
He also played the part of the Maniac in Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a movie, is it?
No, but still fucking good.
Doesn't matter. We're not talking about TV, are we? Pay attention.
Eat a set of dicks.
Yeah, I will eat a beach of dicks. You understand me? I will eat a buffet of dicks before I accept that Suburban Commando is good. Fuck you. So are we saying Roddy Piper, successful movie star or not?
Just live, yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
It breaks my heart, but he's not. And he's my favorite heel of all time. But he's just not. He's not regarded for any role that means anything other than They Live.
And he's awesome in They Live. He's amazing in They Live.
You can't say that fucking he's the Kevin Nash is a movie star, is a success.
Wait, so you think Roddy Piper's done more in movies than Kevin Nash?
Yeah.
Well, you were obviously fucking deaf and blind then, because I literally just listed a list of movies. Like, nobody's heard of any of these movies other than They Live. And even then, that's just a cult B movie classic. Whereas people actually know what The Punisher is. People know what Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is. That's notoriety. You can't be a movie star. You can't be a successful.
He's not starred in a cult movie, has he?
But Kevin Nash doesn't need to be in a cult movie. He starred in high-grossing movies, so technically he's more of a star. There's no getting away from that.
I mean,
dude, Avatar's a high-grossing movie. It doesn't mean it's good.
That's true.
Avatar's actually quite good, I think.
Until you realize that it's just stolen from a bunch of other media properties.
Like what?
Like the Smurfs and Pocahontas.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Do we not borrow from all the greats?
That's true.
When you've got a kind of multi-billion-dollar grossing film, with
so by that argument, can we finally put to rest that Endgame is not very good?
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah,
Endgame's not good.
I'm with you on that.
Just because it grows more money doesn't make it great.
Endgame's got more moments. Endgame's a better film of moments than it is a whole cohesive film. Like, it's got 2 to 3 standout moments. It's got Tony Stark.
Again, it's set pieces, isn't it?
Yeah, it's set pieces with the Endgame.
If you ask me, like, I'm thinking now, so I've watched Endgame a couple of times, and all I can remember is Avengers Assemble. That's all I can remember. I can't remember anything on that, and obviously Tony Stark dying. Spoiler alert. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen it at this point, well, get over it. But it's one of those things where I think I honestly am struggling to think of anything else that mattered or anyone gave a shit about in that entire film. It's just those 2 moments.
I mean, the part where Cap picks up Thor's hammer was a lot of like build up and foreshadowing because the previous films, and then when it finally happened, it was like. But then again, it's a set piece.
And isn't that during the Avengers Assemble thing? That's like one whole
like it's right before the Avengers.
That's just like all the CGI in one.
Like right before the Avengers Assemble bit where he picks up Thor's hammer and starts like tearing Thanos a new one with the hammer and the shield.
Fair. Here's one that is very obscure. El Santo. Anyone know who he is?
He is the most famous Mexican luchador of all time.
So El Santo might not be as well known as Cena or The Rock north of Mexico. The late Lucha Libre icon had a highly successful and highly unique movie career. While many wrestlers took up the roles of specific characters from movie to movie, El Santo often played himself on a series of adventures that would be akin to Superman starring in movies about himself. This comparison holds water because Santo was seen by many as a real-life superhero in his native Mexico. The concept of Santo as a pseudo-fictional character, as noted in Mondo Lucha a Go-Go, the bizarre and honorable world of wild Mexican wrestling, that's quite a long title, started in 1952 when artist Jose G. Cruz penned a Santo comic book that ran for 35 years. So, I mean, that's pretty fucking impressive. By 1958, Fernando Oces, a fellow wrestler and actor, had invited Santo into the filmmaking business. Unwilling to star in movies at the expense of his wrestling career, Santo juggled both careers simultaneously, usually portraying a fictionalized version of himself, moonlighting as a superhero. Santo contra los Zombies, or Santo versus the Zombies, in 1962 was his first movie. From there, Santo went on to total 52 movies throughout his illustrious career, sometimes enlisting the help of fellow Mexican legends Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras. Santo's most successful film, Las Momias de Guanajuato, or The Mummies of Guanajuato, featured all three working together to stop Satan, a wrestler who sold his soul to the Lord of Darkness for fame. We absolutely must do a watch along of that. That sounds fucking incredible.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
I love that story. The idea of someone just going, you know what? Yeah, I want to do movies. I don't want to give up wrestling. I want to do movies, but can I be myself?
Yeah.
It's like John Cena just rocking up on screen. Just like, no, I'm not anything but that.
I know it's up for. Can I just do a quick shout because I remembered there was a wrestler with a role, Silver King and Nacho Libre. He was Ramses.
R.I.P. Silver King, obviously.
It was Ramses and Nacho Libre.
Yeah, I don't think he's on this list, or maybe he is. We don't know. Next guy on the list. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen any of that work, but judging from just
I want to.
It, pardon? Yeah. I mean, the fact that I'm intrigued and would like to watch all that stuff. I mean, obviously, you know, he's a big movie star, obviously, just in Mexico, but that doesn't make it any less of a fact. He's a big movie star. This one's going to be quite interesting. Triple H. When Triple H's movie career can be summed up as short and sweet, it would be fair to say he made the most of his minutes on the big screen. He first starred in Blade Trinity, the third and final installment in the Blade trilogy, starring Wesley Snipes. He played Yarko Grimwood, a brutal and violent vampire who served as a henchman for the main antagonist. Triple H said he actually planned to turn to movies sooner. Vince McMahon actually came to myself and The Rock and was actually talking to us at the time about breaking into Hollywood. Unfortunately, the game would tear his quad shortly after McMahon's revelation, setting him on the road to recovery instead of the road to Hollywood. Though his focus remained solely on wrestling, Triple H received another acting opportunity in 2011 when he played Ray Bradstone in WWE's film The Chaperone. The film was panned by the critics. He was also in an action movie called Inside Out. I have to say, no, I'm afraid. Just not even close.
I thought Inside Out was the Pixar film.
I don't fucking know. I'm just reading what's on the thing. Like, Jesus, you really also like, you know, I don't know, nonsense. Jesse Ventura is next on the list.
When your biggest film was the shit Blade, then you've not.
I actually think Blade Trinity's all right. I think it's quite funny. Ryan Reynolds.
No, it's quite funny, but it's
Ryan
not the
Reynolds,
best Blade film.
Your Biggest Man Crush is fantastic in that.
Yeah, again, he's great, but it's not the best Blade film.
All the Blade films are pretty awesome, aren't they? Which is the best Blade film out of the three?
First one.
No, it's the second
one. I love the first.
The first one's brilliant.
Second one's better. Upset so many people. Second one's better. It's got the cat from Red Dwarf in it. What more do you want?
That's true.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, so you can't argue with anything Red Dwarf related, can you?
No, you can't.
No.
Come on. Red Dwarf is like the king of sci-fi comedy. Nothing's touching that.
It's got Craig from Corrie in it. It's awesome.
No. Corrie has Lister.
Corrie has got Lister from Red Dwarf in it.
Yeah. You fucking shit nerd, Tanvir. I fucking hate you sometimes. All right, next on the list.
Love you too, honey.
Fuck you, Tanvir.
Next on the list is Jesse the Body Ventura, who played a variety of different roles in life, including professional wrestler, color commentator, bodyguard, author, Navy SEAL, podcaster, and he's even been the governor of Minnesota. He also was in the movie Predator, which is pretty shit hot, as to be said.
He ain't got time to bleed.
And he was also in The Running Man. Yay or nay? Jesse Ventura.
I mean, when he's got one of the coolest lines in The Predator, I mean...
I'd say, yeah. Dude's in The Predator, you know.
Also, even if he didn't have that big a role, he's a success in your eyes because he was in the Predator.
It's the same reason I think
so
Roddy
Kevin
Piper's
Nash is obviously a big movie star, then, so
It's
that's
not-
that argument sorted.
No, it's because of the fuck you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Suck my dick.
Jesse Venture's got one of the most like iconic lines in Predator. It was like, I ain't got time to bleed.
He also believes that 9/11 was an inside job, but let's not get into that. He's also a massive conspiracy lunatic.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
Cool. All right. Well, we ventured into very, very dangerous territory, and it's not even September. Right. So, yeah, that was the list. Anyone do you think maybe should have been added to that list?
Nah.
Cool.
Can't think of anyone off the top of my head.
Paige.
Fair enough. Who? Edge.
Paige.
Oh, Paige. Yeah, but it's not her, is it? It's someone playing her.
She was in a film.
Was she?
She
was in Santa's Little Helper with the Miz.
That's true.
Atrocious.
I thought you were going.
It was fucking awful.
I thought you were going the other route.
Atrocious movie.
Oh no, not that movie.
Oh right, the home movie. You mean? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's something entirely different. Although a lot of views. So. Can't say fairer than that, can you? Really?
Kind of a success, isn't it?
Hey,
it's kind of a success.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I thought it was woefully fucking boring.
Better than Jordan's.
What, as in Katie Price?
Yeah, Katie Price. Both Katie Price.
Yeah, but that's Katie Price, mate.
Like, but even Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian's one shit. Move. Kim Kardashian's
Katie Price is now more famous for her son saying cunt than herself.
Hello.
It's true.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Right, back onto the wrestling news. So, WrestleMania 43 will be in Nashville, Tennessee, apparently. Everyone all right with that?
Cool.
It's in our place.
Should England get a WrestleMania at some point?
Yeah.
No.
All right. You've both got separate arguments. Make them.
I mean, given the success of Clash in the Castle, I think it's very telling to be that WWE should run, instead of a pay-per-view live event or something like that, they should run a WrestleMania in the UK. They run a SummerSlam in the UK, so why not a WrestleMania?
Back in 92, yeah.
Or if they wanted to test run it before WrestleMania, run a Royal Rumble in the UK.
So your argument is based on the success of Clash of the Castle, that's enough to argue that England should have WrestleMania?
I think, yeah, if you give it the right enough a build, and given how commercially successful Clash in the Castle was, I think WWE running a WrestleMania is in the cards at some point.
Where would you have it?
Wembley.
I don't know.
It's probably, just from a logistical standpoint, it's the best stadium to do it, other than the Millennium Stadium, which is now the Principality Stadium or whatever in Cardiff.
I think so, yeah.
It is, but it's not as whenever I think of WrestleMania, I think of huge fucking spectacles, not a relatively big arena.
But then they also go for the biggest stadiums possible now. That's kind of the thing, isn't it? So I'm not, obviously I'd like a WrestleMania over here, just from as a wrestling fan. I went to Clash of the Castle. That was amazing. It was very cool to be a part of something that special. And it was absolutely a massive success. The fans were raucous. It's stacked from top to bottom. The card.
It was a great show as well.
It was, you know, we got to see what is still, for me, I think my match of the year, Sheamus versus Gunther. That's probably going to get my end of year award for match of the year, because it was just spectacular. And to be honest, the sheer spectacle of Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, like you say, WrestleMania is about big spectacles. That felt like a WrestleMania moment. Watching those two come out to their entrance scenes, watching Roman Reigns slowly walk to the ring, the sheer, and that was without all the pyros and stuff, because they have obviously different rules to America. America could just spunk fireworks like crazy, whereas Cardiff couldn't do that. So they had no pyro in that, and yet the spectacle of it was incredible. But the argument which I can make as devil's advocate is it's a very dangerous ploy, and it's a very dangerous game to play, because first of all, it means that you're taking the biggest spectacle that American wrestling has out of America, So the American fan base are going to react very poorly to that, and it could alienate a certain degree of your customer base, particularly because it's one thing to sort of say, oh, you got to watch Raw. I don't know. Well, to be honest, even when they have Raw and SmackDown over here, they record it live, but they show it later on. So it's technically still taped. With something like WrestleMania, which you're going to have to show live, okay, they do it in Saudi Arabia, but there's also a bucket ton of blood money being thrown their way as well. So that kind of makes it a bit different. We're not going to be able to pay that level of money. Commercially, absolutely a bit of success. Logistically, it's more than plausible. However, it would start, it would mean WrestleMania starting at what, 2:00 in the afternoon in the US, 11 in the morning if you're on the West Coast. That might upset a few people, might alienate some people, in the same way that American football fans are pretty infuriated that a number of their teams give up a home game to play in the United Kingdom, like the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that, of course, alienates a number of people because, well, hang about. I pay very good money to go and watch my football team, and now I can't because you've taken my team away from me and put it over somewhere else just to try and be a commercial success.
Go Broncos. But my thing is, you can't get bigger than WrestleMania. You know, we get WrestleMania, then what do we do?
Well, that's the thing. That's why Clash at the Castle was perfect, because it was our WrestleMania. So, it was a big deal. And what I like is the fact that they're still mentioning it in the storylines. You've got Survivor Series this weekend, which we're about to preview. And the bottom line is that they're still talking about Drew McIntyre being stitched up by the Bloodline in Cardiff. Yeah. So, obviously, it wasn't just some throwaway house show. Yes, no titles changed hands, but that's kind of been the case for pretty much every fucking Raw or SmackDown, other than, of course, AJ Styles famously winning the WWE title over here on a SmackDown off of Jinder Mahal, which is just a massive insult to the world in general, because Jinder Mahal is the greatest WWE champion to ever live. But it's that thing of, to be honest, you can make room to just give us our own version anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really.
I would just say do that. Keep WrestleMania over there. Keep it as their big event, but have a yearly or maybe twice yearly pay-per-view over here. That's not SummerSlam. That's not Survivor Series. It's not one of the already established names. Make it something different.
Yeah. But would you? So I agree with that, having a UK pay-per-view yearly. But would you potentially maybe at some point maybe have like one of the bigger pay-per-views over in the UK, like say a Royal Rumble or another Survivor Series?
Survivor Series is perfect because I don't feel like it's very much on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to the major pay-per-views now. I feel like Royal Rumble and WrestleMania can't really be shifted over here. I think it would upset and alienate too much of the fan base. Yeah. But I feel like with Survivor Series and even SummerSlam, you could definitely get away with it.
Yeah, would you, not even that, just making it something of our own. Why would you want to bring something established over here when we can make our own, when they can give us our own, expand their story, expand their brand, and make new shows? Having the same thing over and over again. Yeah, Elimination Chamber's fun, Hell in a Cell's fun, all that type of stuff. Having something different, a new spin on a match, would be perfect to have as a new pay-per-view in the UK.
War Games in Wembley.
The Portsmouth prison match. Love that.
There's just a lot of biting of pillows in that one, isn't
there? I mean, leave that one to your imagination at your own fucking peril.
I will do later.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. That gives us an intriguing insight into your Pornhub search history. Lord Almighty. Right, one final bit of news before we quickly preview WWE Survivor Series, which is this Saturday, which I'm very much looking forward to because it will actually be a proper wrestling show, not a bunch of flippy gimps running around. Chris Jericho would like pro wrestling to be an Olympic sport. He was asked whether, because he basically came out and said, I think that pro wrestling should be in the Olympics. Somebody obviously turned around and said, well, it's predetermined. It's not an actual competitive real sport. Jericho's argument to this was, I literally want to go in front of the IOC and pitch pro wrestling as an Olympic sport. Now, you might go, how can you do that? It's all scripted. Hold on, stop right there. Gymnastics, pairs gymnastics, figure skating, pairs figure skating. What is that? It's two people working together to put on the best performance possible. There is no way we could not do the same with pro wrestling. Should pro wrestling be in the Olympics?
No, because we're time limits.
Yeah, especially if you sent the Japanese lot over.
Oh, that pairing got 5 minutes. Why? But we should get 10 minutes. There'll be all that argument.
I just think it's ludicrous in every
Yeah,
sense.
it's stupid.
Yeah, of course it is.
I just think it's
Like,
a stupid idea.
You've already
Stupid
got
idea by a dumb Republican who needs to shut the fuck up and stop being a gimp.
You've already got wrestling in the Olympics anyways.
Yeah, but he wants sweaty storylines.
Yeah, but
he wants
this
it
isn't
more
wrestling. Have you seen that South Park episode where
real wrestling?
That's real wrestling, and he's like, "That's fucking gay." And he's like trying to play him in the crowd. Ludicrously funny. Ludicrously funny. Oh dear. Just quickly, just for Tanvir's sake. So right now, Wrestle Kingdom, which will take place on Wednesday, January the 4th, has the following matches: Jay White defending the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Kazuchika Okada. Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega for the United States Heavyweight Championship. The Junior Heavyweight Championship will be defended by Taiji Ishimori against Hiromu Takahashi, El Desperado, and Master Wato. IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the FTR, of course, will defend against a opponent that is to be announced. I believe
Aussie Open. It's gonna be Aussie Open pretty much.
Okay, well that'll be fucking fantastic because the last one was amazing. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ren Narita to crown the first ever NJPW World Television Champion, and currently Kairi, formerly known obviously as Kairi Sane of WWE, who is the first ever IWGP Women's Champion, will defend her title possibly for the first time against Tam Nakano.
Yeah.
Good card so far.
It's shaping up very nicely, and the fact that you're going to have Francisco, Akira, and TJP whoever wins.
That's the Italian guy, right?
Yeah, and whoever wins Super Junior Tag League. I'm going to say Ace Austin and Chris Bay, but and then you've got
DK. I think he's called DKW.
Is he the DKC?
DK, that guy, yeah. Do you know him?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's great for New Japan.
Cool.
He does New Japan strong. Yeah, really cool. Really good guy.
Cool. Okay, I might bring that up a bit later. Awesome. Just quite quick for Mark. Shut up, Tanvir. Just quickly for Mark. Fuck it. If you don't tell him to shut up, he'll just keep going. Honestly, he's like Stevie Wonder at the Oscars, mate. You need to cut that shit off before he keeps going.
He's not blind.
Is that the conspiracy we're going with now?
There genuinely is a conspiracy about him not being blind.
I mean, there's also a conspiracy that Barack Obama's wife is actually a man. So, whatever. There's also
but like he was doing something, and a mic stand was falling over. A mic stand was falling over, and he grabbed it.
He's yawning over there. Either that, or he's laughing his ass off because he thinks about.
I'm laughing my ass off.
But no, it is. So yeah, there was a bit where he was in an award show or at a concert or something, and a mic stand was falling over, and he was the only one that went to grab it.
Maybe he just thought a really skinny model was falling over, and he just heard.
He's blind.
No, but he might have just thought like, oh, it sounds like, oh, I mean, it's like.
Mark, here's my argument. What if Stevie Wonder's secretly Daredevil?
Oh shit.
Well, that's ridiculous because Daredevil's not black. This is where like.
Why not?
All right, racist.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. No, I'm building to it. If you would let me finish.
He could be. Also,
Daredevil. Don't call me racist, mate. You're from Morecambe, please. Like seriously, you're one step away from Hartlepool and monkey hangers. Keep your fucking nut down, yeah. No, fucking what a budget. By the way, Hartlepool, what a shithole that is. Fucking hell. No wonder you hang. They hung a monkey because they thought it was a Frenchman. True story. True fucking story. Incredible. Like that is a special level of fucking retardation. That is holy shitballs. And I do not like using that word lightly. For me, the thing is, like, you could just see from your argument, I could just see people on the internet going, "Who's the fucking Daredevil's white in the comics? How dare!" You could just see it, can't you? You could just see all these fucking gimps. By the way, just briefly, actually, did anyone see Anthony Ogogo, who's obviously the Olympic boxer and also a talent that wrestles for Progress and AEW, put out a tweet after England beat Iran 6-2 with pictures, obviously, of the coloured players saying Black Excellence, because obviously Bukayo Sako, and Jude Bellingham were amongst others. I think Marcus Rashford scored as well. I mean, they all fucking were fantastic. They're amazing. And he put up a tweet simply saying Black Excellence, which was met with a tirade of abuse from white people saying that it was offensive and racist towards white people, can we all just unanimously say, fuck those stupid little cunts?
They'll be exactly the same fucking people that will have berated them for being black at the last Euros.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
His argument, to be fair. He did reply to one person. He said, funny, because somebody said, oh, it should just be excellence because we're not supposed to recognize them as black at all. We're supposed to recognize everybody as equal. And he was like, really? So why was that not the case at the end of the Euros then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Argument made.
Basically, white people are the worst.
They really are. They're all scum.
Not you, Mark. You're lovely.
Yeah, see? Notice how Mark's the only white guy here. Fuck you.
I'm not.
You are, though, aren't you? Let's be honest,
no,
mate.
You're white as well.
Handle it, mate. I'm medium caramel. You're just going to have to accept that, bruv.
I'm Jewish.
That was, by the way, shout out to the person who tried to make the argument on Twitter that MJF is technically not white because he's Jewish, which apparently doesn't make him full Caucasian. That has got to go into the fucking Hall of Fame for morons, like, hasn't it? Like, the Darwin Awards for people who themselves out of the gene pool in the worst possible ways. That geezer needs to be added to that. What a fucking gimp.
My ancestry is Jewish, so I'm not massively white.
No, that's fair. No, you are. I think you definitely. I mean, what would a Jewish person classify as if they weren't white?
Jewish.
Jewish.
Yeah, but you've got to have some sort of like fun buzzword or something. That's what labels are all about.
Oh, they've been called lots in their time.
What do we got? Prawn Cajun?
It's not kosher, mate.
I know, that's what makes it funny. I can't believe I actually very briefly delved into anti-Semitism. I feel dirty, and I apologize for anyone who genuinely finds that offensive because that is not what I'm trying to do. But at the end of the day, Simon Mark's Jewish, so if he doesn't find it offensive, then none of you are allowed to find it offensive because that's how racism works, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
Have you seen the funny TikTok, Mark, of the fact
Right. Whoa.
Oh.
You just have to explain it to me now because the first part of that sentence. No, I'm 37 years old.
Fuck off, you not on TikTok. I bet you sit at home and masturbate over women on TikTok.
I've got porn for that.
It was a funny video.
That is porn.
It's the fact that Magneto's the one of the only Jewish Marvel characters, and yet he has the power to pick up pennies.
It's true.
Yeah.
That is bloody horrendous. Is it actually the character is Jewish, or are we insinuating that the actor?
No. The
character's Jewish.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure that Ian McKellen is not a Jew.
No, he was a prisoner of war.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's just
they do touch upon that, don't they? In the more modern X-Men, I remember them touching upon. Which, by the way, I thought is it Michael Fassbender who plays Magneto?
Yes.
So I thought he was amazing.
Is it X-Men Last Stand where he has that cool line to one of the younger mutants who says about getting a tattoo, and he's like, "Madam, I've already been marked," and shows the numbers on his wrist, and they all get terrified. They're like, "Holy shit, this guy's been through shit."
He's fucking been.
If that had happened under Disney's watch, right, which obviously it wouldn't because Disney's full of fucking anti-Semites, but if that had happened on a Disney-based Marvel film, people would have lost their mind about how progressive it was. But because it happened under what? I don't know who made that. Was it Fox Studios? Yeah. So because they did it, everyone's like, yeah, it's not very cool because Disney didn't make it. So it's 2 out of 10. Shut the fuck up, you gimps.
Because as odd as Last Stand can be, some of its set pieces are really good.
For me, the most modern breed of X-Men films is actually some of the most underrated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I thought Apocalypse was amazing. I love it.
But is it? I love Days of Future Past. I really love Days of Future Past.
Which one's the one where the really speedy cunt saves everybody when they play Sweet Dreams and he goes?
That was Days of Future Past, I think.
That's fucking phenomenal. That's one of my favorite scenes in superhero history. Is that scene where he saves everybody with his pace and everyone's like slowed down. It reminds me of the scene in Futurama where Fry saves everybody when he finally drinks 100 coffees.
Yeah.
Very strange that, but also an amazing. See, that's a proper nerd, Tanvir. Suck my balls.
Fuck you,
right. Yeah, fuck you, damn it. All right, so
the new Wrestle Club T-shirt, innit?
Yeah, to be fair, you can make a lot of money from it. Hit me up in the DMs, mate. I'll sort you out a decent T-shirt. Right, Survivor Series. Luckily, there's only 5 matches currently on card, so it shouldn't take too long to preview it. It is this Saturday. Will either of you gentlemen be watching WWE Survivor Series War Games? Sorry,
Not
War
live.
Games.
I'm gonna try to stay up for it.
Not live, as I've got children, but we will probably all three of us will probably be watching it in the on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably worth it just to watch the War Games matches, to be honest. So, rather quickly, we'll throw out some quick predictions. So, the United States Championship is on the line in a triple threat match. Seth Rollins defends against Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. Who we got?
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I'd say Seth Rollins with Bobby Lashley trying his best.
I'd like Bobby Lashley to win because I feel like out of the three of them, he would benefit most from having a major title run again. But that being said, they're building towards Austin Theory's redemption, aren't they? As this more maniacal lunatic since he lost his Money in the Bank. But it makes sense for Seth Rollins to retain it and maybe drop it at a future date, especially when you got 2 War Games matches. So people aren't going to remember it as much because they're going to be zoned in on these high-end gimmick matches. We have AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, which has to be one of the most underrated matchups you could possibly ask for. They have wrestled each other once before in a row. I think it was WWE TLC a few years ago. There was a famous. It was famously the night where there was a massive illness, and unfortunately Roman Reigns couldn't make the show or Bray Wyatt. And
because it was going to be the Demon
Tanvir, again with the interruptions, mate. Like it's not hard to let someone finish, is it? Come on, bruv. It's really not. So basically, shut the fuck up. You're starting to get on my nerves. Seriously, fuck it out. You cry about people making suggestive jokes about your sexuality, really. Yeah, as I was going to say before we just charged right in there.
Is it dogs?
Yes, that.
Is it dogs?
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, no, fuck you. Stop flashing your IQ around. It's not healthy. The bottom line is, they faced each other before in a singles match. It was incredible. They did the too sweet thing at the end. Now you can speak, you little gimp. What did you want to say?
It was gonna be Finn Balor. It was gonna be the Demon v Sister Abigail.
Yes, we know that. I just fucking spoke about that. You just basically wanted to show off old fucking Indian Meltzer again, didn't you? Look at me. I read the internet once. I'm an encyclopedia.
Chicken tikka Meltzer.
Shut up, Tanvir.
Chicken tikka Meltzer.
There's just no need for that. That's racist.
What do you mean?
You're now officially the whitest man at WrestleBlog. That says a lot when you got fucking this printer geezer over here next to me. Blimey. He looks like he could be stuffed for an Epsom, that one. Unbelievable. Right, so who we got? AJ Styles or Finn Balor?
I would go Finn Balor because this is the first time it's the first time since the Monster that I've actually been enthused by Finn Balor. This current incarnation of him is fucking brilliant.
I'm gonna go
right as part of the de facto leader of the Judgment Day.
I'll go for Finn Balor as well.
I'm going to go with AJ Styles because Finn Balor's already got his marquee win this year against Edge in that I Quit match. And I feel like, what's the point of bringing in the OC and all that stuff if AJ Styles still jobs? So unless you're going to maybe continue it later down the line, I don't know.
I think it'll be that because I think the thing is AJ Styles went through that period of just winning fucking everything. So this could be his comeback. But I think he needs to have a high profile loss, which this could be, to then get back on that ladder.
I think if they let them go, just let them do their thing for 20 minutes, this could truly be an absolutely ball-bustingly brilliant match. And it should be. The only thing that worries me is, obviously, you've got all the Judgment Day and the OC at ringside. I don't want it to just break down into a ridiculous clusterfuck. If that was the case, you should have put them in War Games. If that was going to be, which we obviously thought is what they were building to, and then they ended up not going with that. Obviously, the only other match, the only other match other than the War Games matches that is available right now, although they probably had a couple last minute. Ronda Rousey defends the SmackDown Women's Championship against Shotzi Blackheart.
Ronda Rousey.
Yeah,
it's going to be Ronda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an unpopular opinion. I think Shotzi Blackheart is an awful wrestler. I think she's very good. She's very botchy.
I don't know much about her, to be fair.
I watched her wrestle Shayna Baszler on SmackDown. I think it was either last week or the week before, and it was fucking awful. It was so botchy. They just kept missing spots, and they buried Shayna Baszler again, which for me is bad for business. I do not understand why you would have, okay, she's not got the marquee value of an MMA talent like Brock Lesnar or Ronda Rousey, but she was still at one point one of the top 10 rated female MMA fighters in the world. And yet
she's still fucking brilliant. She is absolutely, she's a fucking beast.
She's a genuine, believable, like, you know, I can believe that she can kick the shit out of the majority of the male roster. And yet Ronda Rousey gets that treatment. Shayna Baszler doesn't. She's a lackey. So unless you're going to build to an actual four horsewomen of MMA reunion, I really don't see the point of all this. Maybe Shayna Baszler after the match attacks Ronda Rousey and we build to that at WrestleMania. That would be nice.
That'd be good.
That's where I feel that, because a lot of the criticisms of Ronda Rousey right now are that she doesn't have good wrestling matches because it's too MMA heavy. So why not put her against somebody who knows both styles incredibly well, who can have a legitimate, what looks like a shoot fight to most people?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they put Bobby Lashley against Brock Lesnar, right?
Yeah.
So why would it not work in the women's division? Ronda Rousey to retain. Shotzi Blackheart has no business being in this match, especially when you consider so many great female talents. I understand because obviously you've got the women's match for War Games, so that obviously takes up a lot of real estate on the women's roster because there's 10 women in that. Now, speaking of War Games, the women's War Games match will of course, be Bianca Belair's team, which consists of herself, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and a surprise announcement, which will be announced on Friday Night SmackDown this week before the show. They will be facing Damage Control, which is Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, along with Nikki Cross and Rhea Ripley, who is also at war with Mia Yim, who's part of the OC. So you get, again, another continuation of the OC versus Judgment Day in this match as well. There's obviously a lot of rumors swirling. I think it might be Beth Phoenix because that makes the most sense. But then you've also already got Rhea Ripley in a war with Mia Yim. So does that kind of devalue that? The other one, the big name being mentioned, is Becky Lynch. Who do we think the surprise partner will be, and who do we think is winning this match?
I don't know who it'd be. Part of me doesn't want to see. Actually, no, I do. I want to see Becky Lynch come back as a face. She's been a tremendous heel for a fucking long time, but I want her to come back as a face.
I personally think she's been the worst heel I've ever seen. And I'll tell you why, because the fans have never stopped cheering her.
Yeah, but I think that's why I liked it.
Not doing a good enough job as a heel.
No, but that is why I liked it, because she was so fucking loved being just unpleasant. I really enjoyed that.
But I mean, I remember the promo she cut where she said, like, she was trying to be a heel and she said, I was too busy becoming a parent for the first time. Oh, yeah, I'm going to boo you for that. What the fuck? Who's booing you for that? It's ridiculous. Yeah. Terrible.
I get that. But no, I fucking loved her as a heel, but I do want her to come back as a face because I rate her very, very much.
I mean, the storylines here all fit for all of these people. Beth, you know, for instance, Beth Phoenix was taken out by Rhea Ripley at the end of Finn Balor versus Edge in the I Quit match. She hasn't been seen since. But at the same time, Damage Control took out Becky Lynch so that she could have the layoff, whether it be for injury or for other purposes. I'm not entirely sure. None of my bloody business, frankly. But, you know, she hasn't been around for a while now, and she was one of the biggest draws in the company, never mind women's wrestling, just in general. At one point, the biggest drawing talent in the company. So who do you think's coming back, Tanvir, for this one?
Becky Lynch. I think it's Becky Lynch coming back.
Who's winning the match?
Team Bianca, because Damage Control got the win at Clash of the Castle, right?
They did, but since then, Bayley has basically been jobbed out by Bianca Belair at every opportunity. She can't get the belt off of her. So her and Damage Control losing this match, for me, they're in a catch-22 position here. Damage Control lose, then they just, for me, lose credibility as heavy hitters because they've lost way too many high-profile matches. But if Becky Lynch comes back, you can't have her on the losing team unless maybe she stays heel and turns on Bianca at the end of the match.
Actually, I might change it. So I think Becky Lynch is going to come back, but I think Damage Control might win, but Rhea Ripley pins Bianca Belair because they had like that little Twitter thing, and I think they're teasing Rhea Ripley v Bianca Belair. So if Rhea Ripley doesn't pin Bianca or get a title shot, I think Rhea Ripley's going to then win Royal Rumble. But
I hope they don't do that storyline because I think I can only have so big an erection.
You love Rhea Ripley, don't you? She's your
fucking adore her. Yeah. And Bianca Belair is stunning as well.
Yeah, Bianca Belair is so powerful. Yeah, it's Bianca Belair is for me the best women's wrestler of the year.
She's fucking great. She really
her body of work from start to finish has been utterly incredible, and she's not missed a day of work either, despite picking up nasty injuries like that really nasty orbital socket injury where her eye was all fucked up. And that she was still on TV every single week doing promos and working with people. So yeah, no, and I haven't seen her have a bad match this year. Whereas a lot of these women, Like Alexa Bliss for me is arguably the most pointless women's wrestler I've seen all year, which is a
They've
shame.
not figured out what to do with her.
Nah,
They've
she's
not-
never recovered from the Bray Wyatt stuff.
Yeah.
No, but I think she should have just kept it. She should have just kept that gimmick.
Well, I suppose they didn't know whether Bray Wyatt would be coming back or not, so that would have been their argument for it. But for me, like again,
she
I
did it
think
for
Bianca
so long
Belair's
without
team
him.
wins. Sorry, what?
She did it for so long without him. There was no need for him to change.
Yeah, and it sucked.
Mm.
It was terrible. It was bad TV. It was so fake and so stupid. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, the idea was that she could completely no-sell offense from people like Asuka and Bianca Belair. That was ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, but she's still fucking
And the fucking doll in the corner when it did the wink.
Oh, fucking atrocious.
Yeah, that was annoying.
Trash. Pure trash. Yeah, I think the faces will win, but I think they need to do something that's going to help damage control and the heels coming out of this. Otherwise, it could hurt their stock in the eyes of people who are watching it. But they've obviously put a lot of faith in longer-term storytelling. And what is no doubt going to be the main event, it has to be really. The Brawling Brutes, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch will team with Drew McIntyre and the prize fighter Kevin Owens to face the entire bloodline.
That's going to be a good fucking match.
Yeah, it'll be a banger.
Banger after banger after banger. The bloodline are obviously going over. If they don't, the only way I can see them not going over, and I have to kind of credit Frankie T because he did say this to me today, and it does hold true. It's got to be either Jey Uso or Sami Zayn and their shenanigans, which will cost the bloodline the win.
I was gonna throw it out there and be a bit more out there. Sheamus pinning Roman Reigns.
Sheamus is a believable next contender, and I've noticed that they've been building a lot more interactions between the two. But then you also had Kevin Owens come out and stun a Roman Reigns on SmackDown last week, and then he was on Raw on commentary talking about how he needs to this is his match, this is his ticket, so that he can get back to the main event against Roman Reigns. So you've actually got a number of potential opponents to face him again.
I think that'll cost the face team then, not Jay and Sammy. I think it'll actually be between Drew, Sheamus, and Kevin Owens, because I think Roman will be down, and then they'll be fighting over about who gets to pin him or something like that, because whoever gets the win essentially gets the next title shot at Roman. So they'll be having like a little squabble over that. But
then it could be the reverse, where Jay and Sammy are arguing over who should get the win and who truly represents the bloodline. That costs them, and then that causes more of an implosion because they have been teasing this, dysfunctional element of the bloodline. Because Sami Zayn is kind of he's been the intruder, and he's liked by everyone but Jay, who sees right through him.
I love it so much, though.
Really well done. Really.
Can I throw something in a sec?
Sure.
Kevin Owens is in this match. Sami Zayn proves Jay right. Totally fucks over the bloodline, goes back in with Kevin Owens. They start tagging against the Usos.
Yeah.
But the Usos are now that.
That would be amazing, but I feel
But
I think one of the biggest, no, absolutely not. We don't need that back. Fuck you, Tanvir.
Generico.
Generico suck balls. But the bottom line is, it's just a fucking Canadian Arab geezer in a mask pretending to be a luchador. Like, okay, cool. It's no better than the Conquistadors, mate. You remember that? Fucking hell.
Oh.
For me, the problem you've got with that scenario, even though it's a great one, is that Sami Zayn is so fucking hot right now. He's the most over thing in all of WWE. So you would be essentially pulling the plug very quickly when there's probably still months and months of great storytelling available to you involving Sammy and the bloodline.
I can't.
No, go on.
I can't buy it though. That Sammy and Jay have a fight after the way Jay looked at Sammy after saying we're going Waffle House. Looked at him like you're my best friend now. You're taking me to Waffle House.
I feel
I
like
shouldn't have let you interrupt me.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I do.
Off myself.
It would be a
It's no suicide on the podcast, please.
I think that's the other one.
Never mind on the pod.
Yeah, that's the other one we do. I think it'd be a great thing because there's only so far you can take Sami Zayn in the bloodline without overdoing it. And if they're wanting to build Kevin Owens back up and bring him back as someone who is relatively popular and relatively good, this is a good way to do it. Because as you say, Sami Zayn's got a lot of heat at the moment. Putting him with Kevin Owens boosts his brand up as well.
But the thing is, it's working, but not maybe in a way that they probably would have wished. Sami Zayn's too over. Like, everyone loves him. Like, he's the most over thing. Everyone chants, "We want Sami" at every single show, every time the Bloodline's out there. And the whole Uzi thing just magnified that 10 times. Like, people just cannot get enough of that shit. I'm amazed WWE, by the way, has not jumped on that opportunity and made t-shirts. Crazy. Absolutely. You're just leaving money on the table at this point. But yeah, that's Survivor Series. That's this Saturday. I will hopefully be watching it live. If anyone would like to join me for a Zoom call, if you're watching this, if you are going to be watching it by yourself, or you feel like, it'd be nice to have some company, you're more than welcome to join the WrestlePlug Zoom call and watch Survivor Series with us live. Hopefully there'll be a number of us doing that. Right, time for any other business. Anything you boys want to talk about before we get out of Dodge?
No, I wanted to talk about Blackadder, but we've done that.
Can't really think of anything, to be honest. Just that I went on a Dharma binge over the weekend, and I think I should be on an FBI watch list.
Whoa. The TV show or an actual...
Oh, I watched...
He's actually been eating people in his mum's basement.
No.
Yeah.
I watched the 2002 film, because that was on Prime. I watched My Friend Dharma. I watched the Dharma TV series. I watched the Dharma tapes, and then on Channel 4 last night, I found there was a 4-episode docu-series called Jeffrey Dharma Killer Cannibal that I watched.
That's a lot of Dharma.
Blues Brothers.
I know.
But yeah, I was going to say, you haven't seen Blues Brothers, but you've dedicated about 50 hours just to a guy who, did horrific things to mostly people of color.
I would hate to see your notes, Tanvir.
I mean,
have you got like reams of A4 of just nastiness?
In the back of my notes page of my diary is all the things I've watched this year, and I mean, some of it's pretty good, some of it's a bit meh. I mean, yeah. I went and saw The Menu over the weekend. That was good.
I want to see that.
Cameron Anderson went to see that. I mean, he never turns up for the podcast anymore.
Yeah.
But,
I love that. I love that batshit crazy that got. I loved it.
I like that type of stuff. I watched Bullet Train this week as well.
Yes. How'd you find it?
Love. Absolutely fucking loved it. It was great.
I love like all the cameo appearances in it, because there were some actors that I didn't expect to be in there, and then when I saw them, I'm like, oh, Zazie Beetz is in this.
Yeah, I love Zazie Beetz. I think she's fucking stunning.
Her breakout role was Deadpool 2, I think, and then she done Joker, and then she's done. She's in Atlanta.
She's in Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Zazie Beetz is great.
Yeah, I think she's fucking ace.
Yeah, the guy who plays Paperboy in Atlanta's in it too. I always forget the actor's name. But he plays the Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes,
yeah. He's great too.
He's fucking good.
Yeah, you've officially lost me at this point. I have no idea what you're on about. So yeah, but no, apparently there's some good movies. When's the next Odyssey show, by the way? February the 4th. I'll be busy working, sad. I'm already booked for 2 different shows. I'm trying to work out which one I should be doing.
Has it got a Valentine's theme to it?
No, it's our Overboard
water
Rumble.
themed.
Okay. Oh, cool.
It is our Rumble.
Oh, nice.
Which will be good. It's been a year. I think last weekend it was a year since our first Blackpool show, where we did where it was a fundraising one. That is free online, so if you can find it, go and watch it, because it's a fucking great show.
Yeah. When you say free online, what, on YouTube? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's on YouTube.
Cool. Well, we'll stick a link in the description so people can check it out. Odyssey Pro Wrestling is based in Morecambe. It's a fantastic company full of amazing talents, and yours truly, obviously, Simon Mark is the MC for said company. So yeah, really worth checking out. The quality of wrestling and the quality of characters on show, the work ethic, the family-like environment. It looks like a fantastic place. Yeah.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And in the free show that's on YouTube, you get to see me, tell an audience full of people we're going to give a small amount of cocaine to children, and you see Rob Drake fall through the ropes.
I love Rob Drake, by the way.
He's amazing.
Met him for the
Fucking
first
lovely.
time at Coliseum. Wonderful human being. Really
Yeah.
cool.
Really, really cool. But such a great talent as well.
Mm.
Properly brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
he fell through the ropes.
Poor
It was really funny.
Yeah, it happens. Scott Jones botched the 619 at Rumble. You know, it is what it is. By the way, people need to, for anyone who's wondering like what we're up to with Rumble and stuff like that. Rumble returns in February. Got a full slate of matches, full slate of shows rather. A number of different places they'll be working, and there's some really exciting talents being brought in that have never worked for Rumble before. Two of the most highly prominent names in British independent wrestling are going to be working on the show, which is very cool.
I've not checked my email. Was I supposed to get something?
Pardon? No, I said prominent, mate. Like good.
Oh,
like,
sorry.
Good talents, not fucking gimps from the north.
My mistake.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it was that good, you wouldn't be bringing, Alexander Gray up from Cornwall. But it is what it is. Although that being said, doesn't the owner live in Plymouth? So that's probably how he gets up there.
Yeah.
Surely he gets a lift.
Yeah,
with him. Yeah,
he
that
does.
would make complete sense. Absolutely.
Alexander Gray's fucking ace.
Yeah. Say hello to him for me. He's an amazing guy, and
I will.
really, he was part of my debut match as well. Which
And dude's got a fucking cock.
Has he?
Dude is packed. I noticed it at the last show because he was wearing his
packed.
He was wearing his trousers, and they were like fucking super tight. I'm just like, oh, dude, you're carrying dong. That's fucking amazing. Like, yes.
I'm really thoroughly uninterested at this point, don't he? Look at him.
You're talking about cock. I like cock.
You like?
Well, we know.
Put that on a t-shirt. You're talking about cock. I like cock. It's the way he said it, like some terrible porn star.
That's kind of what I was aiming for.
I like cock.
I like cock.
That sounded like flipping sloth from the game.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking.
Hey guys,
nice cock, guys.
Hey,
I like cock.
Hey, you cocks.
hey, you cocks.
That's why I likes Baby Ruths.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
Honestly, it's been quite the interesting week for podcasts, hasn't it? Fucking hell. For anyone who hasn't checked out, by the way, Silent and Death Machine episode 8 now available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. So check that out. If you want more of me and Silent Mark, not talking about wrestling per se, but general life topics and also giving advice. And if you want to send in advice on that, it's silentdeathmachine@gmail.com or SNDMpod on Twitter. I guess that'll be it, lads. Thank you very much for joining me on the State of Wrestling Address to discuss the wrestling news and ultimately having a nice little rant about Suburban Commando, amongst other things, and Tanvir outing himself in a number of different demographics, all of which are probably going to lead to more questions from the FBI. If you want to see Silent Mark, you can obviously get a lot more of him, or you can speak to him directly via his social media channels, which are...
at Silent Mark in most places.
And if you want to talk to Tanvir and lessen your experience of wanting to live, how do we speak to you, Tanvir, on social media? The way he sulks that he's like, oh, it's like you
don't.
I was watching Jeffrey Dahmer.
You don't talk to me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fair. That's fair. I can't believe you don't have 3 nipples, but it is what it is.
I've got 1, 2, and then.
No, I'm talking about Silent Mark because he thought he was being subtle, showing off his nipple there. So.
No, I wasn't being subtle. I just wanted to give you both a nice look. I only showed one.
Mm-hmm.
I have no body hair. Look, that's it. That is it.
Tanvir showing off his body hair, please. Like, come on.
It's because I used Manscaped, so give it a couple of weeks and it'll be.
Oh, could we get a sponsorship from Manscaped? That'd be amazing.
Dude, Manscaped, yeah. I fully love using it. It's great. It's great.
Oh, I use it as well. I don't need to, but
everything we do, like, come on, there's some hairy motherfuckers on this podcast, and there's also Silent Mark. So
there's me as well.
Looking at you, Cameron Anderson, you hairy fuck.
No. Yeah. That's about as hairy as a nectarine, mate.
That's what I call my testicles.
What? Nectarines?
The nectarines.
He's got balls the size of grapefruits. Good stuff. All right. Well, don't forget to get your vitamin D and your vitamin C, ladies and gentlemen, however you do it. Don't forget to check out Side of Mark, Tanvir, and of course myself at Aeron Next Design for all your design, videography, and all that nonsense, but whatever. If you do plan on booking me, by the way, calendar's filling up nicely for 2023. So get in there as quickly as possible. But thank you very much for watching the State of Wrestling Address, and we will catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug. The awkwardness there was amazing, and I know that wasn't like a professional pause. Wow, Tanvir's face in like full on 3D, like Jesus. Yeah,
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, go Saudi Arabia.